is a Bramble Jam podcast.
This week on Yo Gavel Gavel, should a drug addict be responsible for the things he stole to buy pills? We've got the money, Judge Million's got the stuff.
And if you snooze and you lose on someone snoozing, do you lose in court? Judge Gloria rules. Real people. Yo Gavel Gavel!
Hey, what judge is that?
It's Judge Gloria.
Yeah, I thought you forgot to do the judge bit, and you were like, Judge. I thought you said Judge Glory.
No,
like
Judge Gloria.
Glory, rules.
Judge Gloria rules.
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
If you snooze and
this
lose,
is Yo Gavel Gavel. Hey, we did it.
We did do it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week, another gavel.
Another gavel.
Man, it feels good to be back.
Friday.
Gotta get down on Friday. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. How about you, man?
I'm really excited. Who do you have again?
I got the People's Court. Judge Million. Dip it low and bring it up slow. That's Christina Milian, no relation.
Remember when she was in that Hallmark movie?
Oh, that was ABC. Oh, no, she was in the Hallmark movie.
What was the movie?
That's right.
Oh,
my gosh.
You're usually so good at this.
They've got the lodge, and she comes to town. It's the Hotshot Dealmakers.
For those of you that maybe don't listen to our other show, Deck the Hallmark.
Yeah.
Dan's not a super fan.
I hate it.
We watch a lot of them, and he kind of...
you know what's messing with that is watching movies year round, because the seasonal movies are not nearly as memorable to me as the Christmas movies are.
But she was in a Christmas...
It was like a Christmas Lodge movie, and I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was either, but she was also in that... wasn't that her in that Netflix movie?
The one where they went to New Zealand.
Yeah, that movie.
Yeah. Falling in Love.
Falling in Love.
Yeah. It's a classic.
Which is different than the Hallmark movie Falling for You.
Falling for You, that's right.
Dare mix them up.
You don't want to mix those
guys,
up.
welcome. If you haven't gathered, we have a couple of shows that we do as a part of the Bramble Jam Podcast Network. You can go to bramblejampodcast.com, check out all of those shows, some hosted by us, some not, and lots coming down the pipe.
That's
as
right.
Well. More shows.
The Pike. Turnpike.
The pipe, as in like you look into
There's a pipeline.
You look into a pipe and you're like, what's coming at me? Is that new shows? Is that more pods? More of those are coming. And so just stay tuned. This is a very simple show. Dan, you watch a courtroom show? You watch The People's Court?
I watch The People's Court, and you watch Judge Gloria.
Yeah, and you kind of explain it?
We explain it, and then we try to figure out the verdict of the other one, because I've not watched Judge Gloria. Only you have.
Only I.
We're turning our love of televised courtroom shows into more time spent not working.
Yeah. We felt bad not working.
That's right. So we made it a job.
That's right. Now we're
working. As our
working.
good friend Alonzo Duraldi likes to say, I turned my avocation into my vocation. Now, he gets paid to watch movies. Pay us.
We get paid to watch movies.
Hallmark movies. We do. You're right. But we don't get paid quite yet to watch TV shows. But let's make it a thing.
Let's make it. Tell all of your friends. And if maybe you've come into the flock a little bit late, you haven't left a review on Apple Podcasts, no judgment here, but go ahead and do that. Even if you don't have an iPhone, find somebody who does. Download iTunes on your computer. Whatever you need to do, leave that review. It helps us a ton. If somebody's looking up courtroom on Apple Podcasts, the more reviews we have, the
better.
The easier we are to find in those searches.
I've come to the flock late a few times, and I wouldn't recommend it.
No, you shouldn't.
No,
you shouldn't.
It's the bad news there.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first? What do you think?
Mine's pretty long.
Okay. How about I go first?
And I'll get the main course today.
Well, I want to introduce you to We the People with Gloria Allred. Gloria Allred. We're just going to go with We the People with Judge Gloria.
Judge Gloria.
Are you excited?
I couldn't be more excited.
Judge Gloria, she's hard. She's very like, don't you talk, don't you do this. She really wants to get to the facts. Mm-hmm. I appreciate her. I enjoyed watching her. I want to introduce you to Caitlin Riggins, who is suing David Albate for $500.
500 big ones.
500 big ones. So here's the situation, Dan. Miss Riggins says that Mr. Allbait owes her $500, and he chimes in loudly and says, I owe you nothing.
Those are my favorite people.
Yeah. To which she, Judge Gloria, immediately says, listen, you do not talk unless I talk to you. And that goes for you as well, Miss Riggins. Do not talk unless I talk to you. She wants order in her court. That's exactly right. And so here's the story. Miss Riggins is a waitress, works at a restaurant. Mr. Allbait also works there as well. That's how they know each other. And she says that he caught wind that her car was in the shop. She was going to need a ride to work, and so he offered to give her a ride.
Okay.
And she says, no, it's not a big deal. I can take the bus. Like, it's not a huge deal. And he insisted, listen, no bus for you. I got this.
Yeah.
I will come and I'll pick you up. He said, now, I am going to a party the night before, but don't worry. I'll be there. Not a problem.
Okay.
I won't be late. So he said, I'm going to pick you up at 8:30. She walks outside at 8:30. 8:30 comes and goes.
Party.
8:40 comes along, and she says, I'm going to go ahead and give him a call.
Get this party started on a Saturday night.
He does not.
Picking up my friend, I never arrived. Gonna cost her probably her job. 500 big ones coming my way.
Good rhymes. 8:40 comes, she calls him, no answer. 8:50 comes, he calls, no answer. 9:15 finally arrives, calls, answers, says, hey, I'll be right over. She was supposed to be at work at 9. She did not get to work until closer to 10. Ooh. And she says she walks into work, and another waitress comes up to her and says, hey, you snooze, you lose. And she said, what are you...
I wasn't snoozing.
I wasn't snoozing. He's like, what are you talking about? And she explains, hey, the section that you normally have had a wealthy man come in this morning, and he left a $500
Oh, my goodness.
Tip.
Oh, I did not see this going in this direction.
So she says, if Mr. Allbait wasn't late, that would have been my tip. That would have been my money. And Mr. Allbait turns and he starts talking and says, listen, you asked me for a ride. And Miss Riggins says, that's not true. And it's at that point that Judge Gloria says, hey, Miss Riggins, did you not hear what I said? You don't talk unless you're spoken to. Did you not hear that?
Wow.
And she says, I didn't hear that. And Mr.
I missed it. What do you want to do?
Mr. Riggins says, hey, can we make it admissible into evidence that she doesn't know what's going on right now?
I'll have the stenographer read that back to me.
And Judge Gloria says, hey, stop being smart.
Wow.
Just answer the questions. Just quit it. So Mr. Allbait explains his side of the story. He says, Miss Riggins basically stalked me and convinced me, asked me over and over again, will you give me a ride? And it's at that point she chimes in and says, I'm not a stalker.
She just decides to yell, what do these two people look like? Pretty normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's like a skinny little blonde girl, and he's a taller. He's I'm not sure what ethnicity is. He's of a darker hue.
I was just curious.
At that point, Judge Gloria sends the bailiff to stand next to Miss Riggins and says, if you speak out of turn one more time, and I quoted this, he will deal with you. He's served in Iraq, so he knows how to deal with people that are out of line.
Gracious.
She basically
Gloria.
said, talk again, he'll kill you.
Well, waterboard. That's a torture joke right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah, it went down that line, and the bailiff's just like,
oh no, I did serve in Iraq. I'm not proud of it.
So Mr. Allbait then continues his story. He says, finally, she wore me down. She asked me enough times and said, okay, fine, I'll give you a ride, but I need to be honest with you. I'm going to party tonight.
Hard.
I'm going to party hard. I am going to try my darndest not to oversleep, but your boy likes to drink. And I cannot promise you anything. And so he said that since he wasn't being paid to drive her, It's just like a friend doing something for
Yes.
somebody. Things fall
He'll
through.
get there when he gets there.
Friends stink sometimes. And plus, who can say that she'd make that tip? She's not a good waitress.
Oh boy. He just did it.
He says she snoozed, she loosed, and Judge Gloria
She
chimes.
snoozed and she lost, technically.
And Judge Gloria chimes in and she says, "Well, technically, you snoozed, she lost."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh wow." He's very like, whatever.
Yeah.
It is time for the ruling.
Okay.
What do you think that Judge Gloria said?
I don't know Judge Gloria, and so it's hard for me to get a read. I've never seen her. I don't know how she reacts to these kind of things. So I can only hope that Judge Gloria is in line with me on this, which is this. One of my least favorite things in the world are people 100% sure of outcomes that never happened, but they believe would have happened. I call it the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. You know for sure, if I would have been to work on time, I would have gotten that tip. That is 100% not true. It cannot be proven. You cannot say with any amount of certainty that if you got to
Just
work,
because somebody was there
That's
doesn't
right.
mean that if you were there, the same
That's right.
thing would have
Maybe
happened.
you got
Lots
there,
of different things go into
maybe
the
you
reason
got
things
there,
happen.
they sat you at a different table. Maybe you didn't do a good job. Maybe you screwed up his order. There are so many things that could happen in a day. To blame you're not getting a $500 tip on someone not picking you up is not going to cut it. I am sorry. You shouldn't have relied on that guy for transportation. You should have gotten to work on time, and maybe you would have gotten the tip. Maybe you wouldn't have. You're owed nothing. $0 for you.
I think you're going to like Judge Gloria.
Yeah.
Let me explain. She says, while he was...
Gloria in excelsis.
I didn't know if that's where you were going, but I'm happy you did. I listened to Christmas music this morning.
Did you?
While he was negligent, he could not have known that you had a potential tip of $500. Now, she says, if you came in here and you were suing suing because your employer didn't pay you what you were owed, then maybe you would have a case.
Yeah.
Because that's a guaranteed, here's how much I would get paid if I was at work. But that didn't happen.
No.
She was suing for the $500, and because the tip is not foreseeable, he cannot be held responsible, ruling in favor of the defendant.
Absolutely. The right call, Judge Gloria.
You like Judge Gloria?
I'm on board. I got to watch me some Judge Gloria.
She's very
Gavel.
very gavel, very snarky. Hey, what do you think about this one? How about we take a quick break? We
you're
come
gonna
back.
like this.
It's a long one. We'll go into the
Let's do it.
Judge
Go into the deets.
Judge
Million.
Judge Million.
Dip it low. Have we done this already?
Yeah, we have.
Memories of Christmas. That's the movie. That was fun.
That was fun.
Man.
That was fun. People say that breaks can't be fun, and I say, well, you haven't broken with the gavel.
You haven't broken with the gavel. Are you ready to dive into a half-hour case worth $265?
How much?
$265. All 265 of them.
I'm ready.
Let me introduce you to the two dumbest people on the planet. First, we have Abby Flaherty. She's a mom. She has no ability to make any emotive expression on her face. And then I have Chad Duckett. That's Duquette, D-U-K-E-T-T.
It's the case of a Flaherty versus Duckett.
Yeah, Flaherty versus Duckett. Chad's got one arm. Just put that in your pocket for later.
It's important to the case.
He brings it up later, and it would have been weird if I said just off the cuff. He has one arm. It's a real...
in my experience, that typically does come up.
It does.
It does.
And he does have a swagger about him, and he swings his open sleeve around quite a bit. I think he's proud of it. I don't know. The guy's crazy. But also, this case is about...
Does he do the sleeve and tuck? Or
No,
does
no,
he just leave
full
it?
long sleeve.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
It's also about stealing, and so there's a joke that we're not going to make, but everyone else would make the armed robbery joke, obviously. So here we go. Armed. Abby says that she and Chad were childhood friends. They spent a lot of time together as a child. They lost touch over the years. They reconnected a couple of times.
You hate that.
But by and large, they lost touch. But she knew his parents, and Chad was going through some tough times.
Hey, have you ever lost touch with someone from childhood?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. That's sad,
We definitely have time for this right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
Hey, Henry, if you're out there, I miss the times on your farm.
Did you guys ever call him Hank?
No, we would not call it. Is that a nickname for Henry?
Yes.
Really?
Hank Aaron was Henry Aaron.
Get out of town.
True story.
Well, why not just go by Hen?
That's an animal.
Well, he did work on a farm. He was a farmer.
He was. Henry.
His dad was a famous in the region pianist. So
wow,
yeah,
in the region,
and I would,
and he worked on a farm.
No, he didn't work on a farm. They had farm animals basically, like because he's famous in the region. He makes good money being a pianist, and so there's a lot of land, lots of animals, etc. So Henry, shout out to you, my buddy.
My buddy. My buddy Henry.
That was an inside joke between me and him.
Oh, buddy Henry.
Oh, Henny.
Anyway, Abby says that they were childhood friends.
You got anyone you want to shout out to?
I don't.
Sorry, go ahead.
Reconnect several times, and then heard from his parents that he was getting kicked out of his parents' house. And she offered to take him in. And Miljan goes, why is he getting kicked out of the house? And she says, substance abuse. Oh. And Miljan goes, you have kids? And Abby goes, yeah, I got kids. And she goes, so you brought a guy into your house with substance abuse issues with kids in your home. And Abby goes, yeah, but he wasn't using in my home. She said, how do you know? She goes, I guess I didn't, Your Honor. And she goes, well, you must have been pretty close to this guy to bring him into your home. And she goes, no, we weren't close. I hardly knew him. His parents wanted him out. I thought I'd be a nice person and do a favor.
It's very sweet.
So you don't know this guy very well at all anymore. And you have kids. You're bringing him in your house anyway. He was only there for 36 hours is what she says. How long was he supposed to be there? We didn't know, but he got kicked out after 36 hours. But if his parents don't want him, Judge Miljan's like pressing her. If his parents don't want him, you would admit that there's an issue with this guy, right? And she was like, yes, I would admit
it takes a lot for a parent to get to the point to where they're releasing their child.
This begins Judge Miljan's continued agitation with Abby because she just believes Abby to be the dumbest person ever. And I'm not in disagreement with Judge Miljan. But every time she's like, of course. Like Judge Miljan is fed up with Abby. And like, why would you ever do this? So the day he comes home, he comes to stay there. She leaves to go to work, husband leaves to go to work, and she gets a text from her husband, and her husband says, my medicine was missing this morning. Now, her husband takes 3 medications. I didn't hear the first one. The other 2 are Adderall and insulin, right? So, says my medications are all missing, all of them. All right, so Abby goes, okay, well,
who could it be?
Chad is in the shower, and Abby goes to check his stuff, and in his sock, she pours out the Adderall. There's Adderall in the sock. They keep panning over to Chad.
I saw Adderall in the sock once.
Yeah, oh, so good.
Dude, they get
tough
crazy.
to keep them focused. They kept doing like one song.
It really is. One song lasts 10 minutes.
That's right.
It's like 3 songs within. It's wild, but they always bring it back around.
Adderall in the sock. Say what you will. Live at the funny house. So anyway, Chad is over there just laughing, like scoff laughing, like swinging his sleeve around, just like ha ha, and like. Miljan just keeps looking at him like, what are you doing? Like he's not talking.
He's maybe on some of the Adderall?
Oh, yeah. So, anyway, basically found that the Adderall in the sock. And when he got out of the shower, he leaves with her sister, which we'll get back to that later. And she says that she goes down and she's like, I got to check everything. If he stole my husband's Adderall, I got to check everything. So she checks her daughter's room, and her daughter's iPhone is missing. Her daughter's 11 years old, got a brand new iPhone for Christmas. They took him in the day after Christmas. It was gone on the 27th. And she, at this point.
Dang, he got kicked out on Christmas Day.
Yeah. No. He got brought in on day after Christmas, got kicked out the 27th.
Right. Kicked out from his parents.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So.
It was a bad Christmas.
Well, there's a reason for that. We're going to get to that as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, the phone is gone, and Judge Miljan was like, your daughter didn't take her brand new phone with her? And she said, no, she left it on the counter. So her daughter was gone, the phone stayed there. And the phone was gone. So she says that the phone was stolen and that she called Apple and Sprint to try to lock up the phone. And the whole time the defendant is still just laughing, like at the absurdity that this could possibly be him. We'll get to old Duckett here in a second. So it's at this point that she calls back Chad's father and said, hey, I think he stole my stuff. And he goes, yeah, he stole my TV. He stole my brand new TV. And so Miljan basically goes, so he told you this after you figured all this stuff out. And she goes, actually, his father told me that he stole the TV before we brought him in. So Miljan goes, and this is like screaming, so you brought a known thief with a drug problem into your home with your kids, and now you're upset at him because you think he stole things for drugs. And she was like, yeah. So she's like, okay, I got to talk to this guy. So he goes to Chad. Chad is like basically a street dice player from New York. Like he has a hard New York accent, and he can't stay still. He's doing this. He's doing the whole bit. And he's like, no, none of this happened. None of what she said happened. And she goes, you didn't take the phone. No. Did you take the drug? He goes, no, that's not what happened. He goes, Abby gave me 8 Adderall. My script wasn't coming in for a couple days. She gave me 8 Adderall. I took 5 that day.
All right. Kudos.
I took 5 that day, 3 left over, put them in my sock.
You gotta.
Told her I'd pay her back. She came out, she found a 3 Adderall in my sock. That's what happened. And Abby's over there like, that's not true, Your Honor. And she's like, let me finish. So Abby gave you 8 Adderall. You took 5, 3 for later, going to pay her back when your script came in. Yeah, that's what happened. So she turns back to Abby and goes, how do you know these were your husband's pills? Was the pill bottle in there? Or was it just loose pills? She said, it was loose pills. How do you know they were your husband's? She said, I don't. My husband takes Adderall. There was Adderall in the sock. It makes sense to me. So at this point she goes, and my sister was in on it. And the judge is like, how do you know your sister was in on it? She goes, does your sister have a drug problem? And Abby goes, that's questionable. Okay. So basically she brings out this thing, going back to the phone, that this text message she has a screenshot of her sister texting with Chad. And Chad says this line, why you want to buy a new iPhone? I got one for sale, cheap. And then she says, is it the daughter's? And Chad never responds. Okay. So Million's like, what iPhone did you have for cheap, Chad? Yeah, and Chad's like, didn't have an iPhone. Didn't have one. I was joking. I was doing a bit. Like I was being sarcastic because, Abby's sister and I get along, and I was doing this thing because Abby thought I stole the phone. Like, yeah, I clearly have a phone. I don't have a phone. I didn't have one.
I got it.
Never had one.
I'd do that.
So they filed a police report. Million gets the police report, and the police report doesn't talk about Abby finding the missing pills. She said, why didn't it talk about that? Abby was like, we just needed it on record that his pills were stolen. We didn't really care that they were found. We weren't going to charge him for those pills anyway. We just needed it on record so he could get more from the doctor. So then she said, the phone's missing? And they said, no, we found the phone. Abby said, I found the phone in the spice cabinet, which to have a whole cabinet of spices, God bless you. And it was all busted up. Cracked screen. It was in the spice cabinet. My sister found it in the spice cabinet.
Yeah, daughter broke the phone.
Yeah.
She was scared because it's been a day.
Yeah. So I have to pay a $200 deductible to get a new phone. That's what I had to pay, do a new phone. At this point, again, Million's like, why would you let this man in your house? Why would you let him in your house? She calls her an idiot or something like that, right? So, and then she says, okay, so I've got this screenshot of this text, but it's a picture of a screenshot on a sheet of paper. I have no date, no time, or any other text. Do you have any other text? She said, no, my husband took a picture of this off of my sister's phone. I don't have anything else that tells me when this date and time happened. And she says,
you can check the date when the picture was taken.
It wasn't on the screen.
Okay.
All right. So she looks at Chad and she goes, Chad, do you have a drug problem? He goes, no, Your Honor. I don't have a drug problem. I don't have one. And she says, okay, have you ever had a drug problem? He goes, yeah. He said, I got in a car accident, lost my arm, got addicted to the pills, have had a couple of slip-ups this year, but I'm good. I don't have a drug problem. She goes, you ever been arrested? He goes, yeah. I had a DUI. And I also had one other one that I didn't write down. She blah, 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 got convicted of both. Now Judge Million's ready to make her judgment.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I thought there was going to be more to that.
No. So she wants the $200 deductible versus $65 for not the Adderall for one of the other pills. And that's it.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to get anything. I don't, because all of this can be, I feel like Homeboy did a pretty good job of explaining the situation. If it's loose pills, like you can't prove it. And 2, what that sounds like to me is it sounds like your daughter broke her brand new Christmas gift and hid it in the spice cabinet. How can you prove it's Chad Duckett's fault?
Chad Duckett's a shady character.
Now,
though.
Chad Duckett clearly has issues.
Yeah.
And almost most definitely has a drug problem.
Oh, definitely.
I think
5 Adderall
when
in a
you
day.
say I don't have a drug problem, but I've had a couple slip-ups this year,
Yeah.
you still have a
Yeah.
drug
Yeah, yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
just get, you know, it's not just, you
Haven't got, that's
Yeah.
the denial stage,
Yes.
I believe is what we call that.
Yeah, you get 10 years sober, you still have a drug problem.
That's right.
It's still
That's right.
it's still a journey. But that's not I'm not going to give her anything. Like, it just sounds like the two things that she brings up are explainable. It was loose pills and a cracked phone that you cannot prove was his fault.
So right before she asked Chad about the arrest, which is the last thing that happened, she asked Abby to find proof of the deductible. That's what she asked. So the whole time she's talking to Chad, Abby's swiping through her phone looking for proof, like just locked in. So she asked Abby, and she asked her again, and she's like, I'm looking for it. And Abby's like, or Judge Million's like, you came to court. You should have proof of the deductible. Abby says, well, I haven't paid the deductible yet. I have Assurian as the company, and I have to pay this deductible, and I can't get in there to get it. And basically she goes, okay, so here's what you have. You have a text message that could have been sarcastic with no time, no date, no context. You have a deductible you can't prove you actually owe. Here's what I can tell you, Abby. It's a really good possibility that this guy did things he shouldn't have done in your house. It's a really good possibility he stole the pills. But a really good possibility and a single text message with no context doesn't get you anywhere. I still need you to prove it. Even in a civil court, we have to prove it. Ruling in favor of the defendant, you get nothing.
Dan, I got to tell you, I think this might be the first time in Gavel Gavel history we have both got it right, and we both are like, this was correct.
Yes. So, if you watch Chad, the guy needed to pay some money to someone. I don't know if it was the ruling because it was a proof situation, and I don't think she proved it, but he was one of a kind.
Yeah.
Old Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a guy who he has a drug problem.
Yeah.
So
he's clearly got one.
What can you do? We did it, everybody.
We did it.
We gavelled, and we gavelled hard. And we would love for you to gavel your way on over to the Apple Podcast app. Leave a review. Tell your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you hate about Yo Gavel Gavel. Maybe it's like a trick. Like, hey, what if Yo Gavel Gavel was the new Rickroll? You know, oh, dude, you're not going to believe what Fauci said. And then
it's a Yo Gavel Gavel episode?
Yes.
I don't know if that would go well.
I think it might. Let's try it, everybody. Send somebody a serious text and say, man, like, I can't believe who just died. And then it's a link to Gavel Gavel. That'll be good. That
would be great.
It's a new form of guerrilla marketing, and I think we're onto something.
Let's do it.
But I think that's it.
Yeah.
Until next time.
All rise.
That's not right.
History or his story. Yo Gavel Gavel is a Bramble Jam podcast recorded live in Greenville, South Carolina at the Bramble Jam Podcast Network Studios. It's produced by Brandon Gray. For more information, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com/gavel.